right, welcome back to Mark Harvey Mixing and Mastering Product Reviews and Tutorials channel. Today I have something exciting that we're going to take a look at. It's the Antelope Audio Orion Studio Synergy Core Interface. This is quite an impressive beast of an audio interface. I've used many different audio interfaces in my time, universal audio, Focusrite stuff, and I'm really impressed with this unit. Main reason I got it, I was thinking of getting into Dolby Atmos. This had all the inputs and outputs that I would need to set that up in my studio here, and I heard only good things about the quality of the converters in this, and the preamps are stellar, they're clean. And with the AFX real-time processing, it's really similar to a lot of Universal Audio stuff. It's just got so many options. That's why we're here today. We're going to take a look at this interface and try to break it down, just what it can do in the hardware unit itself, front and rear panel. The control software has the routing features and the AFX control and your mixers and adjusting your preamps, everything, a surround panel. Really go in and set frequency response of each individual speaker and your surround setup and the level and phase relationships, everything. I was really intrigued by it, and that's why I went ahead and took the dive and got myself one. This isn't sponsored in any way. The opinions are my own, and I just really think that it was quite an addition to the studio and the quality that I'm able to produce with it. So let's take a look at it here. I know in the past there are some videos out there on the internet where people had complained about their customer support, and I think that was years ago, because I did have one issue with the MRC unit recognizing the authorization on it, and I got in touch with technical support at Antelope Audio, and they responded within a couple hours and had me up and running, so I had no complaints. And as far as the interface itself and the design of both the hardware and the software, I'd have to say that I'm impressed, and it's worked wonderfully so far in the studio. Some of the features of this interface that really stand out about it, it's Thunderbolt 3 or USB 2, depending on your setup there, and it's compatible with both Mac and Windows. There's 12 discrete ultralinear mic preamps with they have mic line, high Z. Inputs 1 and 2 can double for an effects loop or setup, or if you want to run something through a compressor and EQ outboard, can be run that way, because in the back side there are insert points, channel 1 and 2, for the inputs on the preamps there. And there's reamping on the front on the right side, so you can reamp without the need for a direct box or any extra money spent there. You got your stereo outs, 2 sets, A and B. All this is controllable within the control panel software as well as the front of the unit. And you got your 16 line outputs on DB25 connector. I'm running a 714 setup right now for Dolby Atmos, and it's working great. 130 decibels of A to D and D to A conversion grace the unit, and the proprietary 64-bit AFC clocking, which they're known for. Comes with bundled free effects and processors. 51 Synergy Core effects, which you can use in real time. If you want to spend a little extra, you can get FGPA, where you can have a plug-in in your DAW and still run them real time, like Universal Audio. A little bit more involved, but if I'm going to do something wet on the way in when I'm recording, I just use the AFX in the unit in real time as I'm capturing it. And there's virtually no latency doing that. I can run Pro Tools at a low rate there, 6432, and it seems to be fine. So, all right, well, let's take a look at the front of the unit here. Okay, well, here's the front panel for the Orion Studio. Starting from the left to the right, we're going to take a look at this. So we have our power on standby button. If you press the button to turn it off, it doesn't fully turn off. You have to pull the plug to actually do that. Reverse to standby and on, toggles between that. You have your 4 preamp combo inputs right here in the front after that. Mic line, instrument level. And like I said, the first 2 here on the back, there are insert points. You could use it, to route in compressor, EQ, effects, things like that. No latency, obviously. And then next we have our talkback button for communicating with your artists. You have the big knob here, which is push as a button action, and rotary control. And you can access the system menu and, sorts of functionality there. And dive pretty deep, do resets, things like that. Then you have your gain, headphone, and AB buttons. You can select through the individual channels there and adjust the gain for them individually. Your headphones 1 and 2, adjust the level on that, and your AB buttons for comparing. And then we have the display, peak meters, menu options, firmware updates, things like that will show there. Then you have your function buttons. The top button, if you press it or keep it pressed to view the current gain values and assignments, at the back of the unit and the front. You can keep cycling through that button. It'll show you your current clock source, sample rate, all that fun stuff. And press and hold to enter the system menu. And in the system menu, you can set up all kinds of, like, how bright the display is, screensaver time, everything, pretty much everything it has to do with the interface. You can route your talkback system, through headphone 1 and 2, how you're going to be monitoring, back on all that. You can do your factory reset there. And then we have our headphone outputs on those, and 1/4-inch TRS jacks, and we have our reamp outputs, which I had mentioned that you can, no need for a direct box. You can come out there and reamp. Take your time getting the tone that you're looking for. Okay, and that sums up the front panel. So now in the rear panel, we have our DC connection. You can either hook up high-speed USB or Thunderbolt, which Thunderbolt's the way I'm set up. And when you do that, you get through 32 channels of I/O. I think you're limited to 24 if you go USB. And you have your ADAT ports in and out, 2 sets. So you can do 16 at 24, 48 audio. And, the higher up you go on that, you lose some channel count. But you can go up to 192 kilohertz, 24-bit, and have 4 channels available to you yet with the SMUX standard. And you have your DB25 line outputs, which that's how I'm running my monitor setup for the Dolby 714, and have some extras to run out different configurations for my main stereo monitors and things like that. But you also do have your dedicated monitor A and B here, and you can switch, and all this is, you can control it from the front panel, but the control panel software is really good. I mean, you can, anything you can dream of, you can route any way and anywhere you want to, you do it, so. Then you have your SPDIF, for stereo digital out, and word clock input and output. And you have your 8 preamp combo inputs, the mic line, high Z, all that. And as I had mentioned, those insert points there, so you can set up your outboard compressor EQ or whatever you're looking to do. Okay, so that rounds out the front and back panels. So now we're going to take a look at the control panel software, which, you'll see the flexibility there. You can pretty much do anything with this interface. Okay, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like the video. Okay, so here we are in Orion Studio. The interface, it's a really comprehensive interface. You can pretty much anything you want to route anywhere, anything you want to do, the effects processing, everything, you can do it in here. We have on and off. We have oven for our internal sync. You can do word clock, ADAT, any external word clock, ADAT, digital, SPDIF, USB. Depending on your setup, you can turn on external sync here, set your sample rates, which you can go all the way to 192. Settings, which you can do, line bypasses, everything with that. So a lot of pro features. Here we have all of our preamps. I have phantom power on right now, which you have to use command to turn that off and on as you click as a safety precaution. You can flip your phase here, adjust your levels. We have mic line, direct, high Z, every channel. Like I said, there's 12 of them, and they're all, pretty much same. We have our ADAT settings here, which I don't have anything hooked up via ADAT right now, or SPDIF. And we have our monitor section and headphones. You can AB on the hardware unit itself, but the MRC makes it nice for ABing, or you can do it right here. Adjust your dim and mute, listen in mono, both sets speakers there. You can set up your talkback system here, and you can route it any way you like and set levels for everything. And you have your headphones, same pretty much as the monitor system, but via headphones. And then moving on, we have a session save on the MRC unit as well. You have these presets available. So like right now I'm using the OBS setup, for recording the screen capture, but I have 714 in my stereo main. Makes convenient to do complete changeovers on things. If you like a routing setup and you're wanting to compare between like the surround and stereo, I found instead of using this session save part here, because here I'll show you all these are checked. I mean, you could uncheck them and just save the routing here, because I found that it isn't very fast. Like, there's a little bit of a lag between A/B comparisons if you do it this way. So best way to do it is down here on save, and it'll just save the routing. So that's pretty instantaneous if you're going from like a surround monitoring to stereo, listening that way. You have your administration stuff there. Moving down, we have our routing. So this is where you can like route anything anywhere, and you can show and hide. This is your input section. This is your output. Pretty much anything you want. If you have the EMU mic set up, you can show that. But anything that you're not using, you can hide it. Like I don't have any ADAT set up right now. Do use the AFX for guitar amps or compressors, things like that. And then you have your various mixes that you can show and hide. And the surround out, which I've named up to my 714 setup right now. But for now, we're not using any of these. We'll leave that one on there. Next up, and it's the same with the bottom here, the output section. You can show and hide your line outputs, headphones 1 and 2, all of that. And it's as simple as dragging. Say I want the output from the preamp to come down here into the output. This section there, I got it on channel 5 now, and I can set that up in Pro Tools to record it. Notice that I have the AFX out. Coming down to the AFX in, which you have to have this set up first, so that when you do go to the AFX tab, I'm on channel 5 here, so you can set up your guitar amps and things, and you can hear it at that point. Because, you know, everything I have it feeding from the computer playback to monitor it and record that stereo if I want. Right now I have this Atlantis mic set up on preamp 1, and it's coming down. I have it feeding a few different places. Computer record on 1 and 2, and I'm coming in on 2 channels with the Atlantis. And so that's how you would get to your AFX, though. You would come in the AFX panel once you have that routing set up, and then you'll be able to monitor it and hear it. And there's all kinds of different amplifiers. A lot comes with the interface. You know, a lot of really good. I like this Stay 11, which I have here right now, but we have the FET. You know, I changed it on that one, but and you can move the order of these, you know, around and everything, or you can get rid of it, add new effect. You have a tuner built in, pretty comprehensive. So go back to our routing here. If you want to see the matrix view, that's more like a Dadman software with Avid units. All right, and then we have our mixer, which on mixer 1 you do have reverb, you know, comfort reverb, or you can record anything pretty much wet too if you want to, which I do tend to you know, stick with, get the sound first and kind of try to stick with it. But I often do record a wet and dry. You know, if I'm recording guitar, I'll record a wet channel 5, and then you can, all you gotta do is come down here, go to channel 6, record that one dry, you know, so because we have 5 set up for the AFX right now, you know, channel 5. So you can pretty much route anything anywhere. Like I said, it can do just about anything. This is your meters. This since I'm connected Thunderbolt, I have 32, you know, channels in there, and you can see there what's going on. Surround. We have comprehensive control of all the EQ for each individual speaker, left, center, right, all whatever you're set up for. You can, you know, add delay if you need to for speakers, set individual levels for your speakers. Right now I'm set up with the 714 setup. And all of this, A being speakers for stereo or for Dolby Atmos and everything, it's all controllable via the MRC unit, so you don't have to be reaching for the front panel on the interface. And for most monitoring purposes, you don't really need to be in the control panel either. Once you have it set up, you know, there is a lot of versatility here. I think that's pretty much covered everything on this. Okay. All right, so that pretty much is a basic overview of everything you can do here in the control panel. There might be some things I missed, I hope not, but these are general things I use. So now we're going to take a look at the MRC unit. So this is the MRC unit. On the left side, we have all the individual solos for left, center, right, if we want to listen to, or we can listen to the full surround setup here. These buttons light up depending on what speakers you have turned on and off, so you can toggle each one off and on if you like. In the center, we have our monitoring buttons. Press monitor, you can have that set to listen to your stereo back. We have the solo button, which allows you to individually solo or, you know, collectively. Along the top, we have our preset buttons. There's 5 of them, so You can have 5 different setups going here. You have your knob for the volume, so you can adjust the volume of your surround setup, overall with that, which is obviously an advantage, having a unit like this. And you have a dim button over here on the right, and that's pretty much covers it. But it, really convenient to have that obviously right on the desk with you. So I find the whole system works really great, pretty flawless, and sound quality is hard to beat. So I've been really happy with the unit so far. All right, so now we're going to wrap it up here. Okay, well, that was taking a look at the Orion Studio Synergy Core interface. I hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned. Like I said, in the future, I do plan on doing a review of the Atlantis. Lawton Audio, they have a lot of good stuff, and I think this Atlantis is like one of their flagship models. So, all right, stay tuned for that, and until then, we'll see you next time.